Namaste, Jai Hind, and welcome to this edition of The Right Stand. Ladies and gentlemen, just before the start of this broadcast, we were able to speak to Rajya Sabha MP Mahesh, who's made a very startling observation and an accusation on this entire Mahua Moitra saga, cash for query saga. Listen into what he has to say.
You've put out a post on X, which actually throws this whole thing into a whole new dimension of compromising on national security and also intentional sabotage.
Yes.
Could you please?
I was looking at the letter. Since I'm in London right now, undergoing recovery from a surgery, I was watching the channels, all the Indian channels, and I've been watching the controversy. So I just took out Jai, which is available in the public domain. Jai, the authorized complaint to just to go into the details of it all. And I found this one sentence in paragraph 10, which struck me as being one of the most important. Of course, there is the personal dispute between the two of them, and that the allegation is that bribes were taken and that's being examined. But there's also a tie-up in his complaint to the CBI, where he says that the Hindenburg report is full of references to Mahua's complaint against the Adani Group. So it's so much material is based on the Hindenburg report. I don't know exactly how much. Right? It raises the question, as I put in my tweet, whether there was some interest within India, inimical to the Adani Group, who were out there to who acted in concert with the Hindenburg people and initiated jointly on the basis of material in their possession this bear hammering exercise.
But along with that, the issue of probity also now then, does the dynamic of national security, national interest being compromised, does it come, or would you want to limit it only to perhaps industrial espionage or industrial sabotage?
No, you see, first you have to find out whether let's not jump straight away. This has to be done very systematically. It's a very important issue, right? Of course, I mean, the retail investors have lost a lot of money if there was a concerted bear hammering. Now, before, the story put out, right, what we learned was that Hindenburg is a group which, targets companies which they feel are soft targets, that their valuation, they overvalued their shares, right? But, if the material is given by Indian interests who are hostile, either commercially or politically, to the Adani Group, right, then it's forget the Adanis. Then the inevitable consequence of what they've done, which is a bear hammering operation, is poor retail investors have lost so much value. That's a real serious issue.
Along with perhaps an image battering that even India got in the process, along with the fact that there were other bills which perhaps people would have been privy to if they could have accessed the password. Would they access just the question area, or could they have accessed other bills which perhaps parliamentarians are privy to a week in advance sometimes, or a day or two in advance, even before the bill is tabled in parliament or it comes into public domain? The wording of it. Would you want to look at that element or that domain
but
also?
That's a separate issue. Right now, there has been colossal loss of retailer investment value, right? And that's something that's worrying. Yeah? That's very, very insensitive of anybody who's done it. Because you have an axe to grind, because you're a commercial rival or whatever, or a political rival, you want to harm the PM. You destroy investor value, right? That for me is a very serious issue, right? Poor people invest in the stock market. The middle class invest in the stock market. So at this stage, I think that's what needs to be looked into.
But the allegation of being personal questions being asked by the ethics panel and being made akin to
I don't know all that.
Frankly, you believe that's camouflage or to try and shift the blame or shift the attention, look beyond the probity angle? Would you want to consider that?
This, as usual, this breaks up on opposition versus ruling party line. So now I'm not going to get into what was asked, what was said. I don't know. And frankly, it is improper, particularly for me as a Rajya Sabha MP, right, to make any comments on the Ethics Committee and the proceedings that transpired and what was asked. So I won't get into that. I'm into issues, dehors of what is already being examined.
Hello, Moto.
So the matter is not just about cash for query now, it's also about personal attacks and abuse. One blames the other, who called who names. But a larger issue, ladies and gentlemen, given what Mr. Mahesh Jethmalani has tweeted and the questions that have now been asked by the likes of Nishikant Dubey and others about probity, about compromise of national interest, about knowingly, deliberately participating in industrial espionage that also perhaps triggered a bear run that hurt the interests of thousands of people, common folk who had nothing to do with it, along with also hurting one of the biggest names in Indian industry. And somewhere did that impact or dent the global image of Bharat, along with the leadership and that of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. So there is a larger game at play. That's the allegation that's being made, and that's the surmise that's being made. So does this now become a full-blown controversy that could blow up right in all those people who are trying to back Ms. Mahua Moitra? BJP's Tohin Sinha is with us, and Trinamool Congress's Tausif Khan is also with us. Thank you very, very much. Namaste and Jai Hind, gentlemen. How would you want to respond to the observations made by Mr. Mahesh Jethmalani, who says that a lot of it, and this is part of the affidavit that Mr. Jai has written, and in that he says paragraph number 10, point number 10, and it's just in one line, it says a large part of what Ms. Mahua Moitra said or made its way into the Hindenburg reports also. That's where he's drawing the lines about sabotage or deliberate attempt to be a part of a corporate rivalry and hurt somebody. Tausif.
Okay, so it is good that the Hindenburg report is now we are talking about, because that's what Mahua Moitra wants, an investigation on the scam that she has alleged that Adani Group is involved in. And in that backdrop, she has also talked about the Hindenburg report. Now, on one side, we have the allegations that is made against Adani, and the other side we have the allegations made against Mahua Moitra. So, you know, these are not inseparable. Whenever we look at an attempt to shut Mahua Moitra, that is an attempt because the interested party wants her to stop raising questions in Parliament about the alleged Adani scam. Why else would anyone go so vociferously? We have IT minister's report, we have report from Home Ministry, we have report from Foreign Ministry, and all that is before the Ethics Committee. And Ethics Committee now, as the allegation that Mahua Moitra has raised, has gone beyond beyond the scope where the Ethics Committee is insulting her and asking questions which are personal in nature and has no connection with the allegations against Mahua Moitra. No. So yes, this is turning into something which one would not really expect. All we want is that if Mahua Moitra is on the wrong side, then the Ethics Committee must give the reasons, as she has claimed, so far the logins are concerned, that there are no written.
What Mr. Jethmalani has alleged is not that Ms. Mahua Moitra has taken from the Hindenburg report. What he is alleging is that what Ms. Mahua Moitra claimed or what she said politically has eventually made it into the Hindenburg report, and how could that happen, and it triggered such a big bear run. That changes the whole dynamic altogether. Tohin Sinha, before we come to the abuse and the personal allegation and name calling that's been done of a SC leader as alleged by the BJP, Mr. Sonkar, who is the head of the ethics panel, and what was said in the meeting, that's another dynamic. But this is a larger dynamic which Mr. Mahesh Jethmalani has raised a concern.
Well, absolutely, Anand. From day one, we have been very clear that it's an issue which involves national security. And I think, instead of behaving in this churlish and in this cantankerous manner, Mahua Moitra should present herself and, support the investigation. Now, at the core of the entire issue, she is guilty of 3 indiscretions. And allow me to, delve in detail into each one of them. The number one is lack of integrity and probity. She was not supposed to share her login credentials with anybody. And even, now that she has shared is a well-known fact. But even after this whole issue came out, she came on Zakka's show, and she, completely lied when she said that because of logistical reasons, because she would be based in a rural constituency, she needed help from Hiranandani. So imagine the entire illogical thing. From Krishnanagar, she had to reach out to somebody sitting in Dubai, whereas Darshan Hiranandani's own affidavit says that he was the one logging in. So I don't know whether she, wants the world to believe whether Darshan Hiranandani is her secretary or whatever. That's point number one. Number two, bribery. Bribery could be in cash or kind. And I think, in Darshan Hiranandani's affidavit, he has mentioned so explicitly twice that whenever she would make a demand, it would be of a very urgent nature, which would involve his time. So yesterday when she created this whole drama, obviously when Darshan Hiranandani has clearly mentioned him funding her holiday, some personal questions would be asked. She cannot escape them as long as they are asked with dignity. And since there was a senior woman leader present in the ethics panel, Aprajita Sarangiji, I would trust her than trust Mahua Moitra. The third is conflict of interest. Now, you can verify this independently, but I am told that while your login credentials to your MP portal, while to post your questions you require an OTP, the same does not apply for bills which are supposed to be tabled in Parliament in the near future. So all the bills can be accessed if you have the login password, within a few days prior to them being tabled in Parliament. So imagine the kind of indiscretion she has committed.
Sure. There is a counter allegation against Ms. Mahua Moitra that she used abusive, abrasive language against the ethics panel chair, who's also a member of the SC community, and it's on record. And perhaps we have to wait for what Mr. Sonkar himself has to say. But Tuhin Sinha, please counter. Ms. Mahua Moitra has alleged that she was treated badly, questions were very personal, and she has said it was a bunch of Duryodhans who did akin to a Vastraharan. And Danish Ali has backed her.
Well, Anand, I'll just come to that in a second, but allow me to just rebut Tausif on his perceived proximity of Modi ji with Adani. Last year, Mamata Banerjee invited Gautam Adani to Kolkata for a trade summit, and there he committed 10,000 crores worth of investment, after which he also got some, got some port business over there. Now, is Mamata Banerjee going to cancel all the business? Is she going to, tell Adani to take his 10,000 crores back, or whatever that committed amount, whatever that has been, implemented on ground, is she taking it back? So what kind of argument are they putting up? The issue over here, like she clearly mentioned, is of Mahua Moitra's integrity, probity. It's about conflict of interest. It's about her taking bribery. Now coming to the filthy language accusation that she has made. Anand, you are privy to the kind of language which she uses in Parliament, the kind of language which she used in a recent interview. You have spent some time in Jharkhand. Do you agree with somebody calling a fellow colleague Jharkhandi pitbull? I mean, can anybody be more ill-behaved than her? She's an insult. She's a disgrace to this Parliament, and Mamata Banerjee should call her back instead of
here is the point to entire country to you may take exception to the language used by Ms. Mahua Moitra, but that does not justify anybody calling her names or asking her questions which she believes is below the belt. Is personal
below the belt.
Or language used and the tone that was used. Yeah.
No, there was nothing but below the belt. When Mr. Dehadri made that affidavit, in that affidavit, does he, even in one single point, mention his equation with Mahua? It was she who started calling him a jilted ex-lover. So when she calls somebody a jilted ex-lover, there will be some questions which cannot be, completely isolated from her personal life, provided those questions are asked with dignity and those questions are asked in an ethical manner. And since a lady MP with a lot of credibility, Aprajita Mishra ji was present, like I mentioned, I would trust her.
Yeah, so Lok Sabha MP Aprajita Sarangi was present. There are 10 other members who were present, and the list of questions which presents itself, there is nothing which is indecent that's been asked, Mr. Tausif. On the other hand, she has actually done absolute name calling to somebody who belongs to the SC committee, as is true, and the BJP alleges this is insult to somebody who belongs from the scheduled caste community because of the tone that was answered. I personally would not want to even use those words in Hindi the way it's been called. It's K and K. There are two words there. One implies dog, the other implies somebody who's treacherous.
You see, Tuhin sitting here is saying that Ms. Aparajita was also there, the lady MP, and he would believe her instead of Mahua Moitra. Now, if Tuhin is saying this mentality, if this is the same mentality that the Ethics Committee chairman is proceeding with, then there is a problem. The problem is that he is proceeding with a prejudice. He is already
there are 10 members. There were 9 or 10 members present there. And the word of 9 or 10 people against the word of one.
No,
and the entire list of questions and what kind of questions we've accessed here at CNN News 18.
Along with Mahua Moitra, 5 opposition MPs also walked out. She did not walk out alone. She is supported in her statement by the other 5 MPs. The other 5 opposition MPs, they have said that this was a cheer harar.
Okay.
They have said that in
quick rebuttal to Inchina. I have to wind up.
I don't know why the TMC is not able to comprehend this. Anand, you can again read Darshan's affidavit. Twice he has mentioned about gifts, which includes holidays. So when he mentions holidays, she will be asked questions about those holidays. She will be asked questions about where she stayed. So what is something that TMC is not able to comprehend?
No.
You can make an issue out of it, but
if there is a gratification that's been received, the nature and manner of that gratification and that question will be asked. It's not one-on-one question.
Absolutely.
It's in a room full of people who are members of the panel, and then this question has been asked. We'll pause it there. We'll have to wait and watch. But was there a larger intent, malified intent behind this sharing of password and OTPs? And does this now get into the realm of corporate sabotage and somewhere sabotaging and hurting millions of investors in a particular group? And does that then change the dimensions or perhaps add to the accusations against Ms. Mahua Moitra? We'll have to wait and watch. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us.